I also have my colleague, Tammy, assisting me as usual with technical support. Tammy, do you want to say hi?
Hi, everyone.
And we have two special guests today, Ryan Zervakos joining us from LinkedIn. Ryan, would you like to say hi?
Hi, everybody. Very nice to be here today.
And soon to be joining us, hopefully, a third-year student, Vincent Singh, who is the current VP of Business Council. And so we'll let him say hi once he hops on board here. Welcome to the 5th week of career coaching for social science majors. As you may already know, if you've attended previous events in this series, I've put these workshops together because these are topics that students most frequently come to me for assistance. I'm discussing a different topic each week for the first 8 weeks of the quarter, and you're welcome and encouraged to attend as many as you'd like. Today's topic is the first of 2 on networking. We'll talk about why networking is important and how to get started utilizing 2 of the best professional networking platforms available to you, LinkedIn and Tritons Connect. Next week, we'll go into depth on how to initiate a conversation when networking, prepare for an informational interview, and maintain networking relationships. But for today, the focus will be on strengthening your knowledge and know-how of the platforms I mentioned and answering any questions you may have. So please feel free to put questions in the chat box as we go. Vincent will be monitoring, or else I will be monitoring and responding to those. And we should also have time at the end of the presentation for any additional questions if they do come up. I'd also like to encourage you to schedule an appointment with me or any of the other advisors in the Career Center if you'd like more individualized guidance about networking or any other career-related topic. So now, let's start networking, or let's talk networking, I should say. First of all, what is the purpose of networking? I'd like for you, if you're comfortable, to either unmute yourself and share your response to this question, or put a response in the chat box. Why do you think we talk so much about the importance of networking? To make connections with others, yes. What else? Why is networking important?
Well, I want to say that it's because a lot of the opportunities you can get, or some of the best opportunities you can get, are through the people you know.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's a great response. Who else would like to share? There's lots of answers to this question. All right, well, I'll just give you some answers then. Networking will help you to develop and improve your skill sets through communication with others. It will help you stay on top of the latest trends in your industry, keep a pulse on the job market, meet prospective mentors, partners, and clients, and gain access to resources that will foster your career development. Furthermore, to network is to develop mutually beneficial relationships with others for the purpose of exchanging information and advice. So networking just isn't a one-way street. It's not just about what you need. It is mutually beneficial. And networking can happen on a personal level or a professional level, or there may even be some crossover. So today we're focused on professional networking, and we want to show you how to navigate 2 important platforms in order to leverage the benefits of online networking. So we're going to start with LinkedIn, which I encourage you all to become familiar with and create thorough and updated profiles as you move along your professional journey. We're lucky to have Ryan here today to walk us through some key points on LinkedIn. So I'll turn it over to Ryan now to introduce himself and share some important takeaways. Ryan, it's all you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here today. I've been working with LinkedIn now for about 5.5 years, and I work in a sales capacity. So I sell a product called LinkedIn Learning. This is not my 9 to 5. This is not what I get paid to do, but don't feel bad for me. I love doing this. And one of the reasons I love doing this is because when I came to LinkedIn, I was like, quite frankly, most people, which was that I didn't really understand the value of LinkedIn and I didn't really use LinkedIn very well. I got my job here through my network. Networking is really how you're going to get where you want to go in your career for the most part. But once I got here, I realized pretty quickly that I didn't understand how and why to use LinkedIn. And then working with colleges and universities, and specifically getting to meet a lot of students like yourself, I started realizing really quickly that most students don't feel comfortable with LinkedIn, don't understand LinkedIn, and aren't using LinkedIn. And so I've just kind of made it my mission to let anybody who wants to know or wants to hear, I just want to give you information. I just want to arm you with information so that you can make the best decision how you're going to spend your day. I have a daughter who is your age. She is a sophomore at UC Santa Barbara. So I know just seeing her, how busy you are, how stressed you are, how much you have on your plate. I get that. But I also know through data and through being here at LinkedIn that LinkedIn is probably the best place for you to go to get where you want to go with your career, not just now, but forever. And so what I'm going to do today is I'm going to spend about the next 4 hours talking about how, oh, wait a minute, not 4 hours. Sorry, we're not going to be here for 4 hours. Just a joke, not 4 hours. We're just going to take the next 30 minutes to talk a little bit about LinkedIn. So we're going to cover 4 things. We're going to cover why you should be on LinkedIn. We're going to cover really briefly the profile and how to look at the profile a little bit differently. Hopefully that will lower the barrier of entry for you and make you feel more comfortable with LinkedIn. The third thing we're going to talk about is about growing your networking. And then the fourth thing we're going to talk about really briefly is content and posting content on LinkedIn. So let's start with the why. LinkedIn is the biggest social media platform in the world dedicated to doing one thing, and that is to try to help you get where you want to go in your career. I want to reiterate that. The only thing that we're trying to do for every one of our members is help them get where they want to go in their career. And we do that for free. So most people don't realize that. We have 780 million members worldwide. We have 15 million job postings on LinkedIn. We place more people in new jobs than anywhere else, including Indeed, that's all they do. All Indeed does is place people in new jobs. LinkedIn has a lot of other stuff going on. We still are placing more people in new jobs than any other place in the world. So I'm going to ask you a couple quick questions, and hopefully you will drop some questions, drop your answers in the chat or shout them out. And they're pretty easy questions, nothing major here. But what do you think? Let me open up the chat here so I can see your answers. With the 15 million jobs that we have posted on LinkedIn, how many people do you think click on apply on a weekly basis? So how many people apply for 15 million jobs every single week right now during COVID? What do you think? Anybody have an idea?
30
Somebody?
million.
30 million, Vincent. Good guess, but that's low. Anybody else want to drop in the chat? What do you think? It's not too low. Okay, nobody else is typing anything in. I'm going to be feeling really sad here in a minute. All right, 30 million is the guess. That is a good guess. Ulysses, thank you. 100 million is a little bit too high. The answer is $50 million, 50 million people per week, which equates out to over 2 billion people per year applying for 15 million jobs. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you not to use apply and not to click on apply and not to use Handshake or whatever tools you have and apply for jobs. You have to apply for jobs. But what I am telling you is that networking is the best way for you to get your job. What percentage of jobs do you think are found through a network? Anybody want to guess? What percentage of jobs are found through a network? Come on, people, you just have to pick a number. 80%. Thanks, Karen and David. You all are the best. Paola, 75, a little bit high. The answer is 70%. 70% is the number. So when Kelly was talking about networking, there are intrinsic values to networking, but there's also, now we have quantifiable data that networking is going to help you get a job, period, right? So you need to network. You have to network. And the best place to network is LinkedIn. And you also obviously have Triton Connect, right? And it's another great place to network. So the beauty of what you have now as young people in this day and age is you have social media networking, right? When I was in school, when I was your age, when we had stone tablets, to communicate with people, we went to schools and you'd go to an alumni event and they'd meet you with an alumni and they'd shake your hand and they'd give you a business card and be old school. Now you can't even do that because of COVID, right? You'd put that card in a Rolodex. Anybody know what a Rolodex is, by the way? Somebody tell me they know what a Rolodex is. I bet you, I'm sure you do, Kelly. All the students are like, what the heck is a Rolodex? All right, thanks, Karen. You've seen them once. They're pretty old school, but basically what you do is you put these business cards in this plastic thing and you'd like flip through the business cards alphabetically to contact people, really old school ways. Social media has changed the game for everybody. It's changed the game incredibly, some positively, some not positively. But the bottom line is that now you can scale your approach. You can connect with anybody in the world and have more opportunity because it's not just what you know, it's who you know. That is the key, right? It's not just what you know, it's also who you know that's going to help you get where you want to go in your career. And LinkedIn has more people than anybody else and more opportunities for you to connect than anywhere else. So that's why you should be on LinkedIn, right? We know quantifiably with data that if you grow your network, it helps you. Other quick question, having a first degree connection in your network I was gonna ask this question, but the bottom line is I'll tell you, if you have somebody in your first degree connection and you apply for that job and there's a first degree connection at that job, you're twice as likely to get hired, just because you have a first degree connection. You don't have to know them. They don't have to be besties with you. Just because you have a first degree connection helps you get that job. All right, so let's go into LinkedIn. And I want to show you some profiles. I want to show you how to connect and just do these things for the next few minutes because I've got about, I think, 20 minutes left before I want to pass it over to the other speakers today. I do have multiple windows, so feel free to shout it out or drop things in the chat if you'd like. We can go from there. I do apologize. It happens to be my birthday today, so I'm getting a lot of birthday messages. So I do apologize. I'm not normally this popular, so you may see some things popping up from time to time. Thanks you all for the birthday wishes. If you all want to drop me some money, that'd be great. I'll send you my Venmo. No, I'm kidding. Just kidding. Don't send me any money because I'll get fired. All right. So let's start with the profile. I'm going to show you one of your fellow students. Her name is Miyu. I've known her for a while. She's part of a organization on campus called the Triton LinkedIn group, and her profile is amazing. And so I just want to show you a few things about her profile. First thing, profile picture is super important. It does not need to be a professional photograph. You can take a selfie as long as you crop out your head. You can put this phone on portrait mode. It really works perfectly. Again, we want to make this a low barrier to entry. High barrier to entry is you have to have a professional photograph. You have to be wearing a shirt and a tie, and you have got to be wearing a blouse or a blazer. That's not the case anymore. We want to make this more of your personal brand, your story, okay? And the more authentic that you are, the more that opportunity will come your way. I was talking to a vice president of a talent management company where they place over 3,000 people per year into new jobs. And he said that hiring managers and recruiters are looking for two things. They're looking for attitude and aptitude. Attitude, you can't show your attitude on a resume. That's just impossible, all right? You can show your attitude and your aptitude on LinkedIn. So I want you to think of LinkedIn using two words with your profile. It's your story. It's not just your work experience. It's not just what grades you get. It's your story. And the more that you articulate your story, guess what? The more that your network will grow, people will know who you are, and the more that opportunity will come your way. And your story starts with your picture, your background photo. I love this, to see things in the sea, that is genius. I love this quote here. She puts a lot of information in her headline, which I think is great as well. This is an opportunity for you to start giving people your story. So it's more than just what you're currently doing, if you want to put that in there, which I think is important. The about section is where you're going to tell your story. And so here you can see me use, she's gone into a lot of information about who she is, what she enjoys in life. She's a first-gen college student, which I love the fact that she is willing to tell people a little bit about her background, her current personal goals, her community projects. You see how this is just much more of a story that's being told here by me than just like, you know, I'm a current college student and this is how good I am and here are my accomplishments. It's much more compelling. I often get asked the question, like, how much do I put in here? If you write something that's compelling, people will read it, okay? If you write a summary cover letter, which is designed to try to say the right words to get the right job, which you have to do. I'm not saying you don't do summary cover letters or resume cover letters. That is part of the system that we live in, but this is not that. And so I want you to think about taking a few hours to think about, if I were to introduce myself to somebody off the street, how would I want them to think of me? How would I want them to think of me personally and professionally? And that's what MeU's done here. It's really, really compelling. The other thing, let me show you another profile here. Bridget is another student. She's a current student at Cal State Long Beach. You can see her profile picture and her background photo. I want to show you her background photo. Check out this. She says, with her background photo, it's time to look inward and start asking yourself the big question, who are you and what do you want? Just out of curiosity, anybody drop in the chat. You can see who this is from, but just, do you know where this goes? Avatar. Angela, right on it. I love that. See, now here's the interesting thing for me. Again, I told you guys I have a daughter your age, and I've been showing Bridget's profile for a long time, and I'm not detail oriented, so I didn't see that it was from Uncle Iroh, and I didn't notice that the quote actually says from Avatar. And my daughter learned that, and she's like, "Oh my God, that's from Avatar." Now, this is the deal. Why I love this background photo, because immediately Bridget is giving you an insight into her personality. See what I'm saying? Where you don't have to be so boring. You can be yourself. Because trust me, the more that you're yourself, the more you're going to find companies that value you for you. What is the difference between you and the next person? If the next person has the same exact skills as you, the difference is you. That's the difference, right? It's your personality, it's your attitude, it's your aptitude, it's who you are going to be as an employee. I can teach all of you on this call right now the right skills. I can teach you how to use Microsoft Office if you're going to get an office job. I can't teach you how to be compassionate. I can't teach you how to be grateful. I can't teach you how to, have a sense of humor. That is either who you are or not. And that's what people are looking for now, because guess what? When I say that 50 million people are applying for 15 million jobs every week, that means that every single good job, and you all are going to a very good institution, you all are going to be applying for very good jobs, they're getting hundreds and hundreds of applicants. So what are they doing? They're going to be reviewing your applications, looking for minimum qualifications, and then saying, okay, we got 100 people that have the minimum qualifications. Who do we interview, right? And they're going to go to LinkedIn and check it out. Another stat I didn't tell you, I'll ask you real quickly. What percentage of Fortune 500 companies do you think pay LinkedIn to find talent? What percentage of Fortune 500 companies pay LinkedIn to find you all? 75%, Colin, good guess. 90 is a better guess. The actual number is 100%. 100%. 90% of corporate recruiters are using LinkedIn. So remember about the why? When you have so many people applying for jobs, they're going to try to find out who you are as a person. They're going to go to LinkedIn. They're going to Google search you. You want to be able to put your best foot forward on LinkedIn. You can put a lot of information in the about section about who you are, and then what you love to do, who you are as a person, who you are professionally. In the featured section, you can add content in the featured section about maybe uploading a resume or recording a video and saying, here's where I want to go in my career. Here's what I love about being at UC San Diego. Here's what I want to do in the future. Putting yourself out there as if it is social media will be a game changer, because very few students do that. Very few students take advantage of LinkedIn. Actually, I should say very few people take advantage of LinkedIn this way. But if you're a student, you're going to be at the top if you take advantage of LinkedIn this way. Does anybody have any questions about the profile before I move on to growing your network? All right, cool. So growing your network. The bottom line is that when we think about leveling the playing field and going back to my initial thing about Rolodex and connecting to alumni, LinkedIn wants to level the playing field as much as we can. And giving you opportunity to grow your network super easily is the best way to do it. So if I type in UCSD here, I pull up your school page. Every single college or university has a school page. So if you transfer from a community college, the community college is on here. If you go to grad school, that school is going to be on here too. Now, I went to a private school when I was younger. I actually, just to give you some background on me, I was a first-gen student. I did not have a lot of money, and I went into the Navy first to go to this school. And I actually had to work full-time, help my parents, and go to school full-time, and I was in the military, all right? So I was juggling a lot, but one of the reasons I wanted to go to this school is because back then they actually connected you, literally they would introduce you to alumni. That's what private schools do. You pay a lot of money, they help you get a job, right? I don't necessarily think that that's a good ROI, especially now when you can go to this great institution that you're going to, and you can go to this webpage and you can click on this alumni tab, and it pulls up almost 200,000, 186,000 people with whom you can connect for free. $0. You can grow your network. We tell you where they live, we tell you where they work, what they do for a living, and even what they studied. So really quickly here, I would love for somebody to type in the chat, a company they'd love to work for that's not on this list, because you've got Google and Qualcomm and Amazon and Apple, great companies, but somebody tell me a company they'd love to work for that's not on this list, and let's see if there's an alumni there. We'll do this in real time. Anybody? Bueller. Webtoon. Amory, I see how it is. Somebody's putting me on the spot here with Webtoon. Let's see, Webtoon. Drum roll, please. 3 people. Yes, dude. Yes. 3 people are working at Webtoon that have gone to your school. So what do you do here? You scroll down here and you click on connect. You go boom, and then you add a note. You're going to add a quick note here, and we'll talk a little bit more about, and I'm sure Kelly will cover the networking aspect, but this is how you actually introduce yourself. In my opinion, you only have 300 characters. You shouldn't even use them all. It should be short and to the point. What's in it for them, right? Who you are. I'm a current student, especially if you're connecting with alumni. I'm a current student at UCSD. Why am I reaching out? I've always been interested in working at Webtoon. Do you have 10 minutes for an informational interview, or whatever you want to say, right? I'm just looking to grow my network with people like you that are in the industry that are of interest to me. And it's a numbers game. You have 186,000 people that you can grow your network with. So you don't have to worry about people not responding to you. It's not the end of the world, right? If you want to do Blizzard, right? I see Haley, you put in here Blizzard. Check out Blizzard. I'm sure there are a ton of people working at Blizzard. Boom. You have 58 people that are working at Blizzard, right? This is a gold mine for you. Let me show you something real quickly. I actually did this. I do these workshops all the time. And I met this young man. He was going to a community college here in Orange County. I live in Orange County. And I do these workshops all across the state. But I did this workshop at Saddleback Community College. And I did it in 2018 and 2019. He came up to me and he's like, I just want you to know my story. He's like, when I was here last year, I had no idea what to do with my LinkedIn profile. I had a crappy LinkedIn profile and I had 2 people in my network. He's like, when I left here, I shaped up my profile and I made it my mission just to grow my network. And all he did was just do what I told you. And he said it took him 3 months to grow his network from 2 people to over 500 people. And about a month after he got to that 500 threshold, this company, Cengage, reached out to him, asked him to interview for a paid campus ambassador position. He got the job and he's got a guaranteed job when he graduates with his degree. This is what I'm talking about. It costs you no money, nothing but time and effort to connect with people. Angela, what about lab research opportunities? Love it. You can connect with anybody on LinkedIn. So you find people that are doing research, that are working in the labs or working for companies that you're interested in, and reach out to them. This is a common misconception, and thank you for that question, Angela. There's a common misconception that LinkedIn is all businessy. We are growing so fast in frontline workers and hourly workers and research, lab, and education, especially because of COVID. Because now people are forced to connect with people virtually. Now you have to connect with people virtually. So just like if you all have, any of you watched that show that I can't remember the name of it. It's the documentary, the social impact, social media impact. Social Dilemma. It's called The Social Dilemma. They talk about any social media company, you get to a certain point where it's like exponential. Once you get to a certain number of users, there is no stopping you. And that's where we are. We've been there with LinkedIn a few years ago, and we're like just going through the roof. Because once you get to that point, who else is going to come? Is there going to be another Instagram? No. Is there going to be another TikTok? Probably not. Is there going to be another Facebook? No. Right? Twitter? No. There's going to be another LinkedIn? Probably not. Because how long will it take another company to get 800 million members? So this is why you need to be on LinkedIn. And I know you're busy. I know you all are super, super busy, but I'm pretty sure you're on TikTok regularly. I'm pretty sure you're on TikTok or IG. Yes. Thumbs up if you're on TikTok as often as I am. Guilty. Thank you, Amory. I appreciate it. One person raising their hand. Okay. A couple other people. By the way, I blame my TikTok obsession on my daughter. I was perfectly fine on Instagram until she introduced me to TikTok. Now I'm all over. But my point is that if you are on IG, let's say, and you're scrolling through IG and you're like, I've been here for 15 or 20 minutes, take a little bit of time, go over to your LinkedIn on your phone and just scroll through LinkedIn, comment on some posts. Go to, Colin, YouTube is my vice too, by the way. Go to the alumni tab on your phone and connect with people. It's that simple. It takes 5-10 minutes. And doing 5 or 10 minutes of work on LinkedIn 5 days a week, you're doing more than 95% of the people on LinkedIn. Now, here's another thing you need to know, that because companies pay LinkedIn to use our recruiting module, we give them all sorts of fancy bells and whistles. And one of them is that they can see how much time the applicant spends on LinkedIn. It's an actual widget. And so let's say, Colin, you and I are going for the same job. We get pulled up in the same search result by a hiring manager. And Colin's on LinkedIn 10 to 15 minutes a day, and Ryan's on LinkedIn 10, 15 minutes every 6 months. We know quantifiably that Colin gets interviewed. Ryan doesn't quite as often. We know there's a huge disparity. The amount of time you spend on LinkedIn makes it a big, big deal for you. All right. So last thing I want to cover real quickly is I want to cover content. Content is the last thing that I want you all to be able to do on LinkedIn and feel comfortable doing. And that is super easy, right? Goldie here is one of the top influencers. She just shared a post here about, asking questions just to kind of drive engagement in her feed. She's a little bit different because she is more of an influencer, but you can talk about anything you want to talk about. You can talk about where you're going in your career. You can talk about if you've got an internship or the work that went into going into an internship. You can talk about what you've learned on campus, right? You can talk about insights from a lecture. It's super, super easy to do, but let me show you a post from a couple of students, right? I'll show you one here. This is Evelyn. Come on, right? So Evelyn is a current student right now. And what she did is she just posted here about an internship she did, right? And she just said, I can't believe I only have a few weeks left in my internship. She tags the company. She did a hashtag here. She dropped in a couple of hashtags down here, and she also tagged all of her colleagues. The other thing that she did was she put a picture of herself on there, which is, I know you're probably thinking, why would you do a picture? Well, this is social media. If you add a picture on your post, you get 5 times more views. If you add a video, you get well over 10 times more views. She actually got 200 impressions, which turns into this, equated out to about 5,000 views of this profile, 5,000 views of this picture, of this post for a college student right now. LinkedIn is all about opportunity. You take your network, post content on your network sees it, they like it or they comment on it, it goes into the feed, and you know how social media works. One person sees it, another person sees it, another person sees it. If you have 500 people in your first degree connections, then you have thousands of people in your second degree, and you've got tens of thousands in your third degree connection. Real quickly, I'll cover connections right here. If I'm connected to Vincent, he and I are first degree connection. If Vincent is connected to Colin, then Vincent and Colin are first degree, but Colin and myself are second degree. And if Colin is connected to Kelly, then Kelly and me are third degree connections. And the way LinkedIn works is when you post content, and let's say Vincent sees my post, all he has to do is like it, and then it goes on his feed. If he comments, it goes on his feed. If he shares it, obviously goes on his feed. Then Colin has a chance to see it. And then if he posts on it, it goes on his feed, and then Kelly can see it, and so on and so forth. So when you think about networking and you think about social media, LinkedIn is the first time we've tied networking and social media on a professional level to do one thing, and that is to help you get where you want to go in your career. You don't have to be a rocket scientist. You don't have to be a subject matter expert. I can show you, let me show you this real quickly. I want to show you a couple of things in the last couple of minutes that I have. One of the things I want to show you is the background photo, because a lot of students get kind of hung up on the background photo. So just click into your profile, click on change photo, and you can see here that we have a ton of background images that you can use. You can show that you're an ally to the Stop Asian Hate movement, Black Lives Matter movement, LGBTQ movement. And then the other thing I wanted to show you is I want to show you that when you post content on LinkedIn, that people can see that content, what you've done. The whole point of LinkedIn is not to be anonymous. It's to actually put yourself out there so people can see it. And so I want you to see this post that was done by another student. And the post is all about why you should be posting on LinkedIn. It's a great article on why you should be posting on LinkedIn, the top 5 reasons. And this was posted by a student. So at the end of the day, the beauty of this platform is that it's all in your hands. It's literally all at your fingertips. You can do all of this on a mobile device. There's a ton more information that I can cover, but I don't want to bore you to tears. And I want to let the other folks talk on this call for you. But really, I just want you to be introduced to LinkedIn. Hopefully, you found this compelling, and you will make LinkedIn more of a daily destination. And I'm sure there are tons of resources on campus to help you feel more comfortable with LinkedIn and to put yourself out there. But the more that you put yourself out there, the more opportunity will come your way. And one last thing I'm going to say is I'm going to drop my name in the chat, and you all are more than welcome to connect with me right now. I accept any connection requests, especially from students. So I'm happy to grow my network. So with that, I will wrap it up.
Thank you, Ryan. That was awesome. That was such great information. And I think everybody learned a lot, including myself. And yes, happy birthday again. Thank you for letting us share your special day.
Oh, my pleasure.
We are going to move into Tritons Connect right now. And that'll be a much shorter information session, but I do want to walk you all through that. Before I share my screen on that, can you just answer in the chat box, have you ever been on Tritons Connect? Yes or no? Just so I can kind of gauge what your all experiences are. Yes, 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 only once. Yes, no, yes, yes, no. Okay, good. So some of you are familiar with it, some of you not so much. So we'll just walk through some of the basic areas for networking specifically. Tammy, can you allow me to screen share? It's not letting me share my screen.
Sure thing, 1 second.
Okay, there we go. All right, can everybody see this?
Yes, yes, we can.
Thank you, Vincent. So this is the main page of Tritons Connect. The website is just tritonsconnect.com. If you do not have a profile yet, I highly recommend setting one up, because this is just another avenue to connect, find resources, and help you be successful on your professional journey. Obviously, Tritons Connect is not the scale of LinkedIn, but it's still a great resource for you. And what's kind of nice about it is that this is a platform specifically for UCSD students, staff, and alumni. So you've already got that natural connection that you're all Tritons and you're all looking out for each other. So you can find jobs on here. As you can see over here, there's some job postings, and there's another tab over here to look for jobs if that's something that you want to do. There's the feed that there's often information on here about various events and things like that. But for today's purposes, we will focus on the networking piece. So I want to take you to the directory. And, you know, if you're somebody who is, say, studying psychology, I work with a lot of psychology students, and I hear often, you know, I don't really know what kind of jobs I can do with a psychology major. So this is one way to see what other people are doing. You can search them by industry, by major, and then you see, just plugging in psychology, you've got 124 registered users that pop up. These may be current students, they may be alumni. And when you see this willing to help banner across, that means they are willing to help. They want to talk to you if you're looking for a mentor, or if you have questions about the industry, or maybe about their specific jobs. You can see they are in, you know, a lot of different areas. We have a professor, clinical psychology, well, current student here. So that's how you would find somebody using your major. Now, say you're a psychology major and you know that what you'd like to do and know more about is become a school counselor. So you can search in that specific job or role and see there are people on here. There's only 4, but that's 4 more than you knew before, right? So you can reach out to them and you can see they're all current school counselors. And you can talk to them, ask them questions about what it is that they do and what they like about their job, if they have tips and advice for you on going that direction. So this is a great resource to use to connect with others. Also, you can find a mentor. So if you're interested in, you know, having more of a long-term connection with someone who's really specific to your industry, you can come to this mentoring tab and see who's available. You can see there's a lot of people out there that are willing to help. And then finally, groups. If you're interested in joining a group, there are tons of them on here, just depending on, you know, what resonates with you, what your interest is, what your campus involvement is. So you can select any of these and become a member to connect you with people with like interests. So that's kind of Tritons Connect in a nutshell. It's very user-friendly. Does anybody have any questions on that? All right, well, since there are no questions on Tritons Connect, I am now going to have Vincent introduce himself. He made it here. And the reason that I invited him to come today was he's got some online networking experience and he's very connected with those students in the Tritons LinkedIn group. And so I wanted him to be able to introduce himself to you all and share some of those experiences.
Sure. Thank you so much, Kelly. I appreciate the intro. Yeah, so hi there Tritons, hi there fellow Tritons. My name is Vincent. I'm a 3rd year econ and international business double major. But yeah, I'm really here today just to share my journeys, share my experiences with networking. Kelly and Roxy from the Career Center reached out to a couple of the TLG members, Triton LinkedIn group, which is a fantastic group, really focused on better LinkedIn strategies, work with Ryan a lot. In fact, Miyu is actually on board with me. I'm part of business council of UC San Diego, and we work along pretty closely with Miyu as well. But yeah, I think one of the neat things that I've seen LinkedIn really is the power to connect, power to create those opportunities, just as Ryan said earlier. And I think I can illustrate that in an interesting story of how, for me, I'm interested in consulting, specifically management consulting. And for UC San Diego, we are our STEM program, as you all know, is very, very strong. It's a very powerful, well-known school. However, when it comes to business, it's still very young. So when it comes to investment banking or consulting, we are a younger and straight up a non-target school for this. So what that means is that these opportunities are more difficult to come by. We have to strongly network more, and even when we do, it's still much tougher compared to target schools who have on-campus recruiters. So one of the networking strategies that I want to share with you all is using LinkedIn, like Ryan said, to connect with people who are at the company. So what Ryan did earlier, instead of going to like to UC San Diego and then clicking alumni, you can go to McKinsey, or you can go to Bain, or you can go, for example, if you're consulting, or if you're investment banking, you can go to Credit Suisse, or you can go to another one of the investment banking, Morgan Stanley, if you're interested in investment banking. And you can type in like where the hometowns are from, and you can connect based on that similarity. Or you can type in, did they go to your school? And I think one of the neat things that I did, instead of ideas, finding similarities between people. And I found a similarity. People like it when you are similar with them and you can connect with that similarity. And I did an interesting similarity. I connected based off of my name. So what I did was I went to, so McKinsey is pretty much is one of the top consulting firms worldwide, a very well-known and very super competitive management consulting firm. But what I did was I went into McKinsey and I went to its employees after searching on LinkedIn, and I typed in my name, Vincent, and out popped 20 people at McKinsey with my same name. And I sent each of those 20 people a request, like Ryan said earlier, and I dropped a template in the chat. Hi, Vincent. Hey, I saw that you were, I introduced myself. Hey, I'm, in quotes, hi, Vincent. My name is Vincent. I'm a third-year econ and international business student at San Diego. I'm an aspiring consultant. I saw that, your name was also Vincent. I think you have a fantastic name, throwing some humor into there. And, would love to connect with you to learn more about your journey. And afterwards, if they probably, 3 out of 20 people responded, but hey, that was 3. So I got a chat with them and actually hopped on a phone call with a senior consultant at McKinsey in Germany. So super neat call. Got to learn, not only learn more about his journey, but also about his plants. And chatted with him about his plants and how his girlfriend made him buy a bunch of plants, but he didn't like them. But then also got to learn about him. How did he get started? And keeping up with him now, I follow up with him. Found out that he's doing his PhD, and how he's going through with that. So, and the purpose is, one, now I kind of know. So what did I get from that? One, I now know about more the McKinsey and its culture, my goal company and its culture. 2, I have someone who can perhaps vouch for me if and when I do apply. Exactly, as Kelly says, a mutually beneficial relationship. And 3, in terms of valuable for him, a lot of people, you might feel uncomfortable. A lot of my friends I talk about, hey, one of my friends is Christina. She's a super wonderful girl, also works on business council with me. She's like, hey, why would these people want to talk with me? Why would these people accomplish in their careers want to chat with me? I'm just a student. But what happens when people ask you for advice? Tritons, I'm talking to you. Students, I'm talking to you, talking to me. Like, what happens when people ask you for advice? You kind of feel good, right? You kind of, I can help you. Fantastic. I can do something to help you. In some ways, it kind of like people like talking about themselves. That's what I'm getting at. And people want to share and want to help. Same thing as these professionals. They're busy, but they're willing to take, sure, you may hit 3 out of 20, or maybe in my case, sometimes 10 out of 90 people, but those 10 people, they're willing to spend 30 minutes. But it's a lot of copy, paste, edits, looking at the profile. What can I connect with? Next page. What can I look at? What can I connect with? Next page. Send a comment. Send a personalized one. So I think, and that's that specific example with Vincent. There would otherwise be no opportunity here for San Diego for me to talk to someone at McKinsey. But put in 10, 20 something hours and I got those two connections. And it's a way to get there. And I think it's helpful. It's definitely something. It's a first step. But yeah, so I think that's kind of the LinkedIn side of it. But I think what Kelly was saying about earlier about kind of Tritons Connect, I think it's also a very neat platform. I've actually gotten to use the platform. I think just my first time using it. I got to connect with Eshan. He's a MBA at Rady. So I'm interested in pursuing my MBA like a couple of years down the line. And yeah, he is a current like a second year in the MBA program at Rady. Got to connect with him. He's interested in environmental law and going into environmental and business stuff. So I think that specifically has its power too, because now he's able to serve as a mentor. I can ask him questions about anything, and it was because of Triton Connect and that platform. So yeah, I think that kind of wraps up my two things I wanted to share of is, with LinkedIn is being creative with your networking, try to find similarities. In this case, I use names. And the second part is, Tritons Connect and how these alumni specifically, you're already more in with them because you know what else they share in similarity? Your school. And a lot of people are proud of being Tritons, and you can connect with them. You're similar in that fact, and you can connect with them just based off that, and they're more willing to help. But those are the two things I wanted to share with you all today, Tritons. Wish you the best with it. I know it's hard times right now, but I encourage you all to keep on going with it. I'm right there along with y'all. But yes, back to Kelly.
Thank you, Vincent. Appreciate you sharing your story and your advice for other students as well. I did just put in the chat box if anybody's got questions. We've got a couple minutes left. If you've got specific questions regarding LinkedIn for Ryan, any questions about Tritons Connect or anything general networking, we're happy to answer those. I don't see anything coming in, but you're also welcome to unmute yourself if you want to ask aloud. That's totally welcome as well.
While you're all thinking of questions, I just want to double click on what Vincent was saying. I'm not really fond of the whole double click thing, but it's a LinkedIn thing. They're like, we're going to double click on this comment. So anyhow, I'm just going to circle back to what Vincent said. And that is that I remember what it was like when I was your age, even though it was eons ago. And my insecurity and my lack of confidence to reach out to mentors and reach out to people because I thought they don't want to talk to me. They don't have time for me. It was overwhelming. Like, it was one of the biggest mistakes that I made, was not putting myself out there. Because now that I'm on the other side, Vincent, you hit it on the head. Like, in this world where we have very little control and we have very little opportunity to help others, when somebody reaches out to you that's an alumni or that's, a person of color or, a female, I have an opportunity to help somebody. And that's pretty cool. Just by talking to you, right? Just by saying, here's the experiences that I've had. Here are the pitfalls. Here are the things you need to look out for if you're going to be interviewing with this company, right? And the beauty about being a current student is that you are benign to them. You're not competition to them, right? You're still a student, and so you're not competition. And so the real thing you need to do, in my opinion, is just kind of push yourself out of your comfort zone and just put yourself out there. The more that you put yourself out there, you will be surprised at how it comes back. My workshops normally last a little bit longer and I have more opportunity to give you all examples, but I'm going to give you one example of a student just like you. She's going to San Diego State. She applied for an internship at a tech company. And instead of just applying for the internship, she actually did a connection request to the CEO of this company. Now, it's a smaller company. It's not a giant tech company, but it's a smaller tech company. And she just said, "Hi, my name is Ariana. I'm a current student at San Diego State. I just applied for your internship and would love an opportunity to interview." And about 3 hours later, the CEO accepted her connection request and DM'd her and said, "No student has ever done that. No student has ever done that. You will get an interview with me." She got the interview, nailed the interview. She's been working there for 6 months as an intern. This is my point, right? Just putting yourself out there.
Great example. Thank you for sharing that. Court, do you have a question?
Hi, sorry, I didn't want to interrupt. So this is more personal to me, but I'm a nanny right now, which is an independent thing. So there's not really networking going on because I just work for a family. So my question is how to bring that kind of independent work into a social networking site like LinkedIn or Tritons Connect.
I'll jump in real quick, and then Vincent, Kelly, love to get your thought process on it. Oftentimes students are doing a role that you think doesn't equate to where you want to go in your career, right? Like you're a server or you're a barista. But I'm going to tell you right now, you're learning a lot of skills, right, with your current job. So that's what I would do is I try to articulate, here's what I've learned. Here's why I love doing what I do, because I get to, have these responsibilities and I learned this, right? Time management skills. There are things that you do as a nanny that are really important, that are going to take you where you want to go in your career. And then, because LinkedIn is not a resume, you have time to really, how do you want to articulate that story in your about section, right? So that when you're reaching out to people and they're like, okay, your name's Court, right? It's like, who is Court? And they might click on your profile before they connect with you because they want to kind of see who this person is. Like, is this person a salesperson? Is this person going to ask me to be an MLM, right? And so when they click on your profile, they get to see a little bit more about you. And so I would want to take a little bit of time to figure out how do you want to, again, articulate that, who you are as a person, so that you can reach out to anybody. There is no holding you back. It's like, do you want to reach out to people in sales? Are you just kind of finding out where you want to go in HR? The sky's the limit for you. And as a student, this is one of the things I tell my daughter. I'm like, I don't want you to pigeonhole yourself into, this is where I have to go and what I have to do when I graduate. Like, the sky is the limit. So connect with anybody because everybody can help you.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah, I can. Yeah, Kelly, would you like to share anything?
No, go ahead, Vincent.
Yeah, I think, Court, fantastic question. I think, Ryan definitely said, anything that you may not think that your current job matches with what you do want to do in the future, but I'll, like Ryan said, I'll challenge that. Like, for example, for me, I actually worked at a Hilton before. I worked at a Hilton in guest services as a bell attendant. And I think like those, what I did say from there, sure, although it's not directly correlated to consulting industry, but however, the customer service, the service skills, the hospitality, the way to, focus on clients in a customer facing role, I can then say I can bridge that professionally into, hey, from this role, I've learned service skills, I learned client first, and that's pretty much what we had to do in consulting. Or pretty much what I had to do in like any business facing customer relations role. And I can say, oh, I gained these skills while I worked at the Hilton. So and in the case of you saying your nanny, hey, I learned incredible time management skills. I learned incredible, client skills, the guest services skills, and those can be applied to any professional opportunity, any professional job.
Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, do not discount your transferable skills. In being a nanny, there's a huge amount of trust that goes into that. And so, I'm sure the family that you work for really appreciates that. And they could probably provide you with some really good connections as well. So, be creative in your networking strategies. There's so much more than just what's online. Of course, online's probably the biggest and easiest way to do it. But once we start getting back in person, there's going to be a lot more opportunity for it as well. So we will go ahead and wrap things up. It is 11:58, and I just first of all like to thank again Ryan for being here and sharing all of his expertise and stories with us today. And thank you, Vincent, for being here as well. Great to have you guys join us and share with our participants. Also like to thank all the participants for coming and being engaged and asking questions. Please join me next week for part 2 of networking portion of the series, when we'll talk a little bit deeper about how to introduce yourself and how to initiate conversations in the network setting and, you know, keep them going and what to expect from that. This may be particularly helpful if you're on the shy side or not sure how to approach industry professionals. And of course, another reminder, you can always sign up for individual career coaching appointments at any time on Handshake. So I hope you all have a great rest of the day.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for being here.